Imagine for a moment that you're strolling through an alien landscape. It's not like anything you've ever seen before, with bizarre plants and maybe even some strange creatures that seem to float in the sky. The gravity is a bit weaker than Earth's gravity, but you don't feel like you're floating. You're just outside, breathing the thin air, enjoying the view. But how could this be? How could you breathe in space? To answer that question, we have to take a look at what makes it possible for us to breathe on Earth in the first place. When you inhale, you're taking in more than just air. You're taking in life. Every breath provides your body with the oxygen it needs to stay alive. But all that air we breathe in is actually pretty heavy. That's because it's mostly made up of nitrogen, which accounts for about 78% of our atmosphere. Oxygen only makes up about 21% of the air we breathe. And the remaining 0.4% is made up of carbon dioxide and other gases. So the reason you can breathe on Earth is because there's enough pressure pushing all that air into your lungs for you to inhale it. And when you exhale, the now carbon dioxide-filled air is pushed out by the incoming air because there's still more air on the outside trying to get in. This same concept applies to every other gas, whether it's hydrogen or helium or any other element that exists in a gaseous state at room temperature. If you put yourself in an environment where the gas is present, then the gas will naturally flow towards you until the pressure equalizes on both sides of your body. But here's the problem. Space is a near-perfect vacuum. There's hardly any matter out there, so gas molecules rarely bump into each other. So if you were to step outside without a spacesuit, there wouldn't be much pressure pushing air into your lungs. In fact, there wouldn't be any pressure pushing air anywhere. That means there wouldn't be any air to breathe, period. So why do astronauts seem to breathe in space sometimes? Well, that's because they're carrying their air with them in a pressurized suit or spacecraft. Without that pressurized environment, there simply isn't enough gas molecules around to support life as we know it. But what if that didn't have to be the case? What if we could find a way to make it so that we could breathe in space without a spacesuit? It might sound like science fiction, but it's not. As long as we could somehow create an area of higher pressure inside our bodies than the outside environment, then the air would flow towards the area of lower pressure. We'd need a way to get our body's internal pressure up to around 15 psi, which is roughly the amount of pressure a submarine experiences when it's 33 feet underwater. At that depth, you'd be able to open a valve in your helmet and breathe underwater just fine. And if you could achieve the same thing in space, you could explore the vacuum of space just as easily as you explore your own backyard. Of course, to do that, you'd need a liquid to push against your body from all sides, sort of like water does when you're deep underwater. But since we don't live in the ocean, we'd probably want to find a way to pressurize the air inside our suits instead. If we did that, then we wouldn't even need big rockets to get off the ground. We could just strap on a jetpack and fly straight up into the sky. And if we could breathe in space, then we could travel to other planets too. No spacesuits, no rockets, no problem. Getting our spaceship's air to 15 psi needs way more than just a good plan. We'd need to develop new materials that could withstand that kind of pressure. And we'd have to figure out how to safely vent the air back into space once we wanted to come home. But those are just engineering problems waiting to be solved. Because at the end of the day, the biggest obstacle keeping us from breathing in space is the same one that keeps us from breathing underwater: the lack of any liquid to push against. Once we overcome that, breathing in space will be as easy as breathing on Earth. So what do you think? Do you think we will ever be able to breathe in space? I would love to know your thoughts. Thanks for watching Parallelish. I'm Nova, your guide through the unknown. Want to explore more timelines? Tap the playlist above and keep diving into the what-ifs. Until next time, stay curious. If you've made it this far, please could you like and subscribe to my channel. It helps me out a lot. Have a great day.